What's up? What's going on, y'all? Running a little late. My bad. I thought I changed the time on it. See, I didn't do that, but I will. My fault, y'all. Um, we'll give it a little time, let y'all get in here. I want to talk a little bit about rhythm scoring. We got into a discussion about that earlier on the panel. I don't know if any of y'all were able to see that, but yeah, we had a good little discussion about that, and then Mr. Mass jumped on, and him and Chilltown had a pretty good debate about rhythm scoring and exactly like what that means, and that's because I just wanted to kind of get my opinion on that and what I mean when I say like rhythm scoring and scoring with the rhythm, and what I believe the level of skill set you should have at that level, at the pro level, because I've never really been a fan of just saying like, oh, this player is out of his rhythm so he can't score. I don't, at that level, when you're supposed to be that good, I feel like it's kind of just a cop out, like it's a plea, as opposed to just saying, "Hey, I just missed a shot." I'm just not making my shots. I think that's more of a plea as opposed to just not being in the rhythm. Um, like, for instance, I can only give my perception on just what I from not from like a skill set, but just from a mentality standpoint of like how I see the game. I feel like I shouldn't have to touch the ball every other possession down to be able to be effective on the offensive end. Because when I get the ball, I feel like I'm only going to shoot good shots or open shots. A lot of times, people's um, average looks bad because they're taking tough shots, taking shots that are contested, shots that I would consider to be bad shots. Um, so, just kind of getting into that, I would say, if if we're running our offense correctly, we should be able to find a good shot. If we're running our motion, if we're screening away from the ball, popping to open spots on the floor, then getting good looks should. When we have a stagnant offense with a person that's more dominant on the ball, um, that's ball stoppers, relying on ISO play, I feel like that's when we have bad shot selection, people shooting shots out of the offense, forcing shots. That's when I hear, oh, they weren't in their rhythm, because they're missing shots, and it's like that's a plea. If I can if I can be on the court and let's say I get the ball this possession off a back cut or something. Boom, I get a little layup or some a dunk or whatever. Now when I'm getting back, I'm playing defense. I'm staying into the game. I'm playing the passing lanes. I'm being engaged on the other end. I'm seeing man and ball. I'm bumping cutters. I'm talking to my teammates. I'm yelling out pick left, pick right, back cut, shooter, shooter. I'm pointing them out like, oh, there he goes. Don't lose him, don't lose him. I'm talking to my guards, pushing them up. Get there, get through the screen. I'm hedging on screens. I'm getting back. I'm being active on defense. I feel like how am I then out of rhythm ever if I'm engaged on the defensive end, and then on the offensive end I'm running the sets, I'm setting my down picks, I'm giving a target, I'm talking to my teammates on that end of the floor as well. Then how am I ever out of rhythm? That's why I feel like the basketball has become to where people are just so focused on getting their shots, getting their points. That's the only way I can see where you feel like, oh, I'm out of rhythm, because if I'm not shooting the ball, I'm not engaged in the game. That's my main take on the out of rhythm narrative or whatever we want to call it. Um, I call it a myth because if you're on the basketball court, you should never be out of rhythm for all the reasons I just stated. So I don't like the idea of that. Now I do understand shooting in rhythm. Um, Instead of maybe when I'm just stagnant, I'm standing here. I'm a standstill guy. I'm not running when I don't have the ball in my hands. Then I can see where I'm not shooting in rhythm, where guy passes me the ball and I'm just standing there, flat footed, straight up and down. Straight up and down like a flagpole. I'm just standing there. I catch the ball. Then what? Okay, so I got to take a dribble and step in, knock it down. That's shooting out of rhythm. Now coming off of like a curl, I step into my shot, inside foot, outside foot, get it up there, shoot it, or I catch the ball on a cross screen. I open, if I'm down low, I catch the ball on a cross pick. I open up and go straight to work. Then I'm not out of rhythm. So that's the one thing I can see where being a rhythm scorer comes into play, when it's like, oh, are you shooting in the rhythm? Are you shooting in the flow of the offense? Are you getting open shots? Are you getting good looks? Are your feet set? I had a coach at when I was playing at Edmonds, uh, coach by the name of Sean Higgins. He played in the league. He got a ring with Michigan, and he taught us just to have a kickstand ready when especially if, let's say, there's motion over there, and then I'm waiting for the ball. I got my kickstand, so that way when the ball's coming to me, I can step to the ball, boom, shoot the shot. So I'm never shooting out of a rhythm. Yeah, yeah. Markevian, that's how I look at it. If I'm playing D, if I'm engaged on the defensive end, and I'm engaged even on the offensive end, running the set, I don't have to shoot the ball to be in rhythm. I don't. I think that's one of those things. Like if you were watching on the panel earlier, Fluent, when he got into the conversation, he was saying that, um, if I'm not getting my shots, well, that might be because when you were playing, you were just not just a shooter. I don't mean that as in a bad way, but I'm saying you were mainly shooting. That's what you were here for, is to shoot. So that's what he was overdoing it for. Yeah, I could see that D. I could see that D. But I was kind of still more leaning with his argument as opposed to Chill's argument, just by the way I look at it. And that's might because even when I was playing ball, I was never a volume shooter. I was never going to shoot more than 14 shots a game. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. That's just not how I get down. And I don't have any problem with people that shoot more shots than that. But I just never was that type of player. I might shoot 11 shots a game. Something like that. The rhythm and tempo definitely can affect in production. Yeah, I think it does, but it's just about what do you consider being out of rhythm. Either way, from a non-volume shooter or not, even if you're a volume shooter, you should be shooting good shots. That's the way I look at basketball. That's the way I teach basketball. I don't feel like, if just because you're a volume shooter doesn't mean you got to get shots up at all costs. You know what I'm saying? You should still be shooting the floor of the offense. You might be our main scorer, which means when I'm calling my sets from the sideline, I'm calling sets, putting you in a position to where I know you're going to be getting the ball more often than not. Yeah, but still, it's still be a good shot. If I catch the ball and then somebody got a hand up, I'm not going to force a shot just because coach said this is a shot that we're going to find. You can't be a robot. So if I see that, I'm like, oh, dude, dish it down to the big fella. Go to work. If it's his man closing out, his or her defender, to the ladies out there as well, to the lady ballers, it goes the same way. Um, let me see. If you're on the court, exactly, Biz. That's the way I look at it. If you're in sync with what's going on, then you're going to be in rhythm. If you're kind of out of it, and that's a selfish mind state too. If you're not engaged because you're not getting a gang of shots, then that's a selfish mind state. I mean, unless you let's say you're a post player and you're down there doing all the dirty work, and you're posting up on the offensive end, and you're giving your teammates a good target. You've been open 3 possessions down, 4 possessions down, and you just can't get a touch. Then at that point, then I can see you being a little frustrated, but you still got to keep playing ball. But that's something you can address in the locker room. It's no big deal. That happens. It happens to everybody. So, from different positions. Yeah, and I could see where it might be a little easier for a player that's playing more the post position to stay engaged and be all at all times. I can see that. Yeah, and that's something I was talking to to your comment. That's what I was talking to Chilltown about either today or yesterday. I can't wrap my head around you being a professional basketball player, particularly my wing players. You know, my threes, my fours, my twos, particularly them. I can't get my head around you not being comfortable anywhere on the basketball court. Like you should, even if you're not a shooter, and I know I'm not going to shoot more than two. Maybe I might shoot two threes a game. I'm typically going to take one, but I'm just not a shooter like that. Even at the 3 point line, I should be comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't be a proficient basketball player and find yourself anywhere on the court and feel out of whack. Like I can't be here. You know what I'm saying? That's a good point. Markevian, that's a good point. Hey, I never thought about that with Clay because he's definitely not the defender he used to be. I could be it. Yeah. AB. Yeah. I mean, it's important, but I don't. It's rhythm. So yeah, rhythm is important, but I don't understand not being in rhythm. Like, why are you not in rhythm? Is more so my problem. Especially if you're one of the main scorer type guys. If you're supposed to be one of the leaders on the team, to imagine you not being in sync with your team, not being in rhythm with the goings ons on the floor while you're on the floor. That means like what's happening in the huddle. You know, when coach is talking, are you not listening? Are you checking out the shorties in the stand? Are you looking at the ladies across the way? Are you making eye contact with one of your boys? Like, yo, after the game, we going like what are you doing in the huddle? In the timeout? What's going on in the timeout? Why are you not in there being active? You know, why how could you be on the floor? You know what I'm saying? I'm saying it in so many ways, but it's just simple as this. How could you possibly have the jersey on, be out there, and not be engaged in what's going on? Like to not be warm, that's a warm up thing. Like before the game, that's why we in layup lines. That's why we're doing the quick little 3-on-2 drills. That's why we're in the shell drill, swinging the ball around the horn, getting it back, get last person shoot it. You know, that's why we're doing these drills before the game so that your body is warm. You're supposed to be warming up an hour before. Make sure you see the training staff, get your ankles taped, get stretched out, do your plyo dots. Make sure you hit the box. You know, some people like to get on the treadmill or hit the bike for a little bit. Some people like to do a full workout in the weight room. Whatever it may be, you got to be warm when that buzzer goes off. When you get in the game, you need to be engaged. I can't give especially a professional basketball player. I can't give you no form of slack as far as not being in rhythm. Not being in rhythm, that's crazy. Novad Ken, what's up? Like anyone in the draft for the Kings. Mr. Beam King, I can't really say, bro. I'm ashamed to admit that I was a little not a little disengaged with the college basketball this year, so I'm not really hip to all the draft picks. Usually I'm on top of that, but this year I've kind of been missing it. I've been hearing that they're talking about getting Keegan's brother. I think his name is Chris. I can't remember, but yeah, I've seen him a couple times. He's solid. I haven't really been thinking about the draft. I know we're not gonna have a super high pick this year, so hopefully we do the best of it. What's more important to me is just developing our young talent, mostly Keegan Murray and Devion Mitchell. Well, yeah, Biz, I agree. You got to be locked in. But that's not just like you. You can't just turn it on, turn it off. That's just something that's happening all season. It's happening in the off season. Are you engaged in the goings ons of your team? Are you at film session? Are you at the training camps? Are you getting in the extra shots with your teammates? Are you in the weight room with your teammates? How are you when you have these meetings by position and meetings with all your assistant coaches? I mean, these NBA teams they got like 20 assistants. You know, they got managers that come in anytime you want to get up shots. You can get into the workout facility 24 hours a day. So there's no excuse. There's no excuse. About 24. Big dog. Oh, big dog. You been? Oh, so you haven't heard? Yeah, man, that's gone, big dog. Hey, the 24-hour stream, it came and it went. It came and saw it conquered. We did what we had to do, man. We took care of that. Hold on 1 second, y'all. I got this phone call. What's up? I'm streaming. My bad, y'all. I had to take that. Um, boxers say, to make an analogy, boxers say all the time they're not set up until they get hit. Sometimes it's not touching the pill in the actual action to score. You don't think it's easy for you to lose the feel. I I just can't wrap my head around that. I just can't. I don't see. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see how you can just not be able to be productive on the offensive end when you have the ball, just because you didn't get the ball as much as you wanted to. I was always taught to rest on defense. I mean, on offense anyway. You know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna rest, I'm gonna rest on offensive end, which means I'm fully engaged on the defensive end, and sometimes I might catch a breather on the offense. So if I'm not in rhythm on the offense, then that's a mental thing. I'm pretty sure that I'm always in rhythm, but every play not the same. Man, regardless, I mean, yeah, and that's kind of what I'm saying. Like exactly that. Everybody's not the same. Everybody's not the same. But if you're a professional basketball player, and you're one of those guys, then shame on you. I'll say that. Shame on you. You need to perfect your craft. Yeah, be a professional. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nowhere on the court that should be uncomfortable for you. There's no time during the game that you shouldn't be locked into what's going on the floor. You should always be engaged on the defensive end, which will keep you in rhythm on the offensive end. Uh, that's pretty much that. But yeah, y'all, I gotta actually go get ready for to do the Chill with Chill show. If you in here, man, y'all tap into that. It's gonna be a good show today. You see down there on the banner, man. Always love yourself before anything. Make sure you love yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of your mind as well as your body. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you read a book today. All you gotta do. Get 15 pages a day. If you get 15 pages a day, man, you doing right by yourself. So y'all make sure y'all read a book, drink some water, and please never drink and drive. Call a Uber, call a Lyft, call a cab, and if you're in my area, call me. But y'all enjoy yourself, man. I'll get ready for this game. It's gonna be a hell of a game too. Game 3, game 3. I got Miami by 12. Miami by 12.